What's up everyone, it's ENDYMION, and recently I reported in one of my videos on how trillions of dollars in woke investments have been lost over the past few years. It's actually around 5 trillion that evaporated into the ether, and now one website is calling everyone who is against woke ideology some very taboo words that I can't really say on YouTube, but I'm going to anyway. Beyond this, thegamer.com has chimed in stating that anyone who review bombs content or doesn't agree with their opinions should leave the internet and never come back. Also, footage-wise, nothing really makes sense for this video, so I'll just put cool video game stuff. There's a lot of angry woke freaks in this video, so let's get into it. Firstly, there's this website called afru.com. which turns out it's a melting pot of woke identity political nonsense being spewed all the time, and some of these articles are just wild, dude. But there was this one that caught my eye titled, "Anti-Woke Economic Terrorists Have Now Wiped Out $5 trillion in Stock Value. Anti-ESG hysteria driven by online hate platforms has disproportionately eroded portfolios of color and sabotaged our planet's future. Call it what it is, terrorism." Yeah, you heard that right. Now, if you stand up against wokeness, you're basically being thrown in the same pile as the people who flew planes into the Twin Towers in 2001 now. Funny how that works, huh? They detail in their article, while complaining the entire time, that assets for ESG investing has dropped from $35.3 to $30.3 trillion by 2023. Afru.com also complains, stating that the United States alone has scaled back their investments into wokeness by well over 50%, from $17 to $8.4 trillion. There's so much this article says that is quite insane, so they said, and I quote, "The repercussions of the anti-ESG downturn have not been felt uniformly. Investors of color bear a disproportionately heavy burden, as they are more likely than white folks to invest in companies aligned with ethical and sustainable practices. These are, after all, the companies that are also willing to affirm that non-white lives matter. While anti-ESG sentiments erode financial portfolios of color, it also undermines our collective efforts to promote positive change through responsible investing. And the broader implication suggests an ever-widening gap in wealth and opportunity, as losses to portfolios of color only exacerbate existing disparities. Let's be clear about where to put the blame. Conservative lawmakers, driven by an irrational culture of anti-woke hysteria, have actively taken measures to resist the incorporation of ESG principles into business and investing. This opposition is manifested in legislative efforts across multiple states, from Florida to Utah, where lawmakers are pushing back against the injection of ethics into the financial sector. The anti-woke hysteria driving them finds its origins in unmoderated online communities. Most notably, hate platforms like 4chan and X. Bitter young males, often incels, from these dark websites are brutally enforcing a vast online alt-right echo chamber, effectively drowning out more rational voices. This shapes up not only public discourse, but also the policy decisions of conservative lawmakers eager to put harmful online ideas into legal practice. The hate from these groups has picked up steam with the tanking of Anheuser-Busch or Bud Light, and is often controlled by extremist statements from alt-right leaders and podcasters. Outside of a few token efforts, the powerful ripple effects of these online ideologies on real-world policies is something that has not been grappled with, and for far too many are still afraid to call the phenomenon what it is: terrorism. Our planet and its future is now basically being held hostage by young males recruited into 4chan's hate army by Elon Musk and extremist online podcasters like Joe Rogan and Tim Pool. Where do we go from here? Economic thinkers like Hassan Piker suggest one short-term solution for revitalizing ESG could involve ethical investment requirements for funds. Such a mandate could function as a booster shot in the arm of ethical financial interests, aligning global capital with sustainable and equitable societal goals. Will it happen? Not unless reasonable people get together and create their own lawmaker-influencing echo chambers to counter theirs. A tall proposition. Ultimately will have to deal with the terrorists. Our planet is now at stake." End quote. Holy crap, dude. The amount of delusion written in this one article is enough to fill up entire videos worth of nonsense. Firstly, unironically stating that Hassan Piker is in any way, shape, or form an economic thinker that we should listen to is hilarious. So thank you, Afro.com. I needed that laugh. Hassan has never struggled in his life. The dude was given his entire platform by his uncle who owns a media company. The dude was brought up with the most silver of silver spoons in his mouth. For God's sakes, he's a socialist who says that we must tax the rich. And then gets mad when he goes to places like Mexico and ends up getting taxed for being rich and then complains about it on social media. The last person in this world that we should be listening to when it comes to these things is Hassan Piker. And saying that the world is at stake if ESG funding runs out, these woke activists think they're the Rainbow Avengers or something. Like the world will be plunged into ruin if their ideologies don't become the only correct option going forward. The same weirdos who desecrate historical monuments every other week. And they also burn down entire cities, destroy entertainment and pop culture, and sink entire studios and displace hundreds of people from their livelihoods in the name of what they call progress. But they are right at least. The world is at stake, but it's not what they think. Because the further down this ideological rabbit hole one goes, the worse it gets. Like recently, there was a protest of people in Philadelphia that were supporting communism. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. How these morons who all, if you look at the crowd, are multi-hair colored overweight individuals themselves. They would be the first to die if communism was a real thing, cause you ain't getting fat in a communist society, friendo. You're gonna starve and be working 14-hour shifts on the daily mining ore until your hands break. And then some officer will just love tap you in the back of your skull with a nice piece of lead so you can go sleepy time for the rest of time cause you're no longer useful. These people are insane idiots that are genuinely going to drive society into a dark future if their ideas continue to flourish. That's why whenever I see however many billions or trillions are being lost in woke ESG funding, I say good for them. I hope it keeps falling, because nothing these people are doing is for the betterment of society. And then calling people terrorists is insane coming from the side that, like I said, has burnt down entire cities when they don't get what they want. This whole Trump thing is going to make people more deranged as time goes on, and I can tell you with confidence what will happen too. If the Democrats win the election, there will likely be no riots, no cities will burn or anything like that. However, if Trump wins, you can bet your sweet shiny butt cheeks a few cities at the very least are going to be wiped off the face of the earth in retaliation. I mean, everything has been affected. Your games and movies have been destroyed for years by this. Sure, there's clearly a turnaround of some kind that is happening. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine just happened and is doing really well and good for them. But even if the entertainment, the games, and all that slowly over time fixes itself, it doesn't stop the fact that there are currently thousands of people who believe these insane rhetorics that are walking around society right now. And their actual insane views and actions are not only encouraged, but they're rewarded as well. And what's extra tone deaf and goofy is that this Afro site has merch. Don't buy any of it, by the way, but dude, just look at some of the stuff they're selling. Nice guys can't F-word, be gay, do crime, real men love single moms, and a black woman is speaking mug. Like, you can't make any of this up. These are real things that you can buy, and they are insane, but also really funny to me. A site called Afro, which is obviously a play on Afro or black culture, and they're selling a shirt called Real Men Love Single Moms. Like, come on, man. You can't be serious, and be gay, do crime, they're emboldened by this and they want you to know it. Like, everything on this website is complete propaganda. As I began to scroll through their articles, I just couldn't believe my eyes. I genuinely thought that these were parody articles written like The Onion or Babylon Bee equivalents, but they're not. They're being 100% serious. Like, they have this other article titled, Dear White Women, White Babies Are White Supremacy. Your potential to contribute to society extends far beyond the walls of your home. White women are key to ending white privilege, and we count on their partnership to help achieve full equality. Like, seriously? Let me read you this article because it is insane how they think this is a real thing you should be doing, and this is how emboldened and crazy these woke freaks are, and I quote, So let me tell you something that we all feel but few have dared speaking up about. When we see a white woman with a white baby, we see the perpetuation of white supremacy. It scares us on an existential level. White babies make us feel unwelcome and like our beautiful children of color will never have opportunities or a dignified future. Believe it or not, upper middle class white lady, the purpose of being a woman is more than just a McMansion and squirting babies into it. Women can and should seek fulfillment beyond the traditional roles of wife and mother. Your potential to contribute to society extends far beyond the walls of your home. Why is it so hard for white women to break free from privilege and understand that? Consider the environmental impact of another Timmy and Karen running around. Each new baby contributes to significant consumption of resources in an already overburdened planet. Our society is grappling with climate change, resource depletion, and environmental degradation. By choosing to have fewer children or none at all, you can reduce your carbon footprint and help create a more sustainable future for all of us. And the societal implications, the current demographic trends reinforce existing power structures. White privilege and systematic racism are perpetuated when the majority population continues to grow without significant changes in the status quo. You can, are expected to, actively participate in dismantling these oppressive systems. Investing in existing children, particularly those from marginalized communities, can be incredibly fulfilling and impactful. Mentorship, fostering adoption, or simply supporting organizations that work with disadvantaged youth can make a substantial difference. By redirecting your resources and energy that otherwise would have gone into creating even more privilege, you can help level the playing field and create opportunities for the folks who need them most right now. The decision to bring more babies into the world has far-reaching consequences no matter your race. But white women are key to ending white privilege, and we count on their partnership to help achieve full equality. So you see, white woman, close your legs for just a little bit is the only possible path forward for a future of peace and happiness for all. End quote. Like, are you being serious right now? These are how these individuals see you. The mask is completely off, and they will stare at you in hatred until you give them what they want. I honestly don't think I've ever come across a website that is more hateful and bigoted than this one in a long time. Telling white people to not have kids because it's racist to make more white people, but instead invest their resources into children of color by adopting them is the right thing to do, apparently, because it will end your white privilege and be better for the planet, apparently. Imagine saying this about any other group of people and thinking how well that would go for you. You see what I mean? This is crazy. And to say, like before, that you're somehow contributing to the terror of the world because you don't support wokeness is just so bad, dude. Like, having entire articles where you say having white families in picture frames is racist and terrifying to people of color in your home is actually insane, and it's a real article. This is what I've been saying for so long when it comes to media in general. It is being designed to ruin your perception of the world on purpose. It's why I always say that wokeness is a literal mind virus, because it's designed to rewrite the critical thinking pathways of your brain until you cannot distinguish reality from the fabricated lunacy around you that is constantly being pushed down upon you. It's why the conservative ideologies are booming, and why, like the first article stated, that ESG investments are starting to dry up. If anything, the best thing you can do as someone to oppose wokeness is to never do anything that these hateful, bigoted people tell you to do. Even when it comes to media, I mean, we know that in 2023, over half of the games being played based on data confirmed that most people are just playing older games. Why is something like that happening? It's simple. Too much new stuff is subscribing to the same harmful ideologies websites like afru.com is with their articles that they spew out. It's why I've been going back and playing lots of older games and watching older movies and stuff, like the old Batman Arkham games, and I'm just 100%ing them instead of playing Slop Woke Simulator 500 for $80 Canadian instead. Like, I'm currently replaying Octopath Traveler, which is 6 years old as of the making of this video. But hey, you know what? Even though I beat it when it first released, getting to replay it on PlayStation has been very fun for simple enough reasons. Cause I know it's not going to be a woke dumpster fire like recent nonsense, and I can just enjoy it at my leisure without having some character telling me to end my white lineage in the name of progress. This rhetoric from these sorts of websites, it's all over the place. Obviously, afro.com is definitely on the extreme left liberal side of the argument, but even gaming websites are trying to spew stories, although they're at least attempting to sugarcoat it a little more. Like this article from The Gamer titled, "Review Bombing Something is a Sign You Are Way Too Online." They open their article by stating one of the many ways that the internet has gotten worse in the last decade is that it's no longer possible to know if a movie, TV show, or game is bad, or if it just features a queer person, woman, or person of color. When some angry nerds get together and decide to review bomb something, it doesn't take many to completely tank an audience score. The argument throughout this article is that users across the internet have too much power, and instead that power should be stripped from them because they don't agree with liberal leftist views. They use examples like Star Wars The Acolyte, The Last Jedi, and games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, saying that people review bombing YouTube videos promoting those games or going on Metacritic and dropping the audience score is nothing but a bigoted response. But the truth of the matter is that everyone should be allowed to express their opinions because that is what free speech means. And while no, you are not free from the consequences of what you may say depending on how extreme it is, it's within everyone's right to criticize your opinions if they choose to. The same way I dismantle and discuss often the fallacies of the woke liberal mindset, my opinions are here that if a liberal wants to do the same, they can as well. That's the beauty of speech, it goes every way. I don't think websites like Afro should be shut down, in fact I hope it stays up. And that's mostly because it allows people like me to expose them for how insanely racist and bigoted they are. Especially towards white people, even though many woke freaks believe it's impossible to be racist towards white people. Even though, ironically enough, to people who parrot such opinions are often white themselves, like Alyssa Mercanti of Kotaku, who's just said that months ago as well. It's a woke mind virus that reverses opinions and ruins people, and they're often so lost in the sauce, they would rather drown than be saved from the fear of retaliation from fellow cult members. Voicing your opinions via review bombing something or by not buying a product is not bigoted. Companies will not listen to customers when it comes to complaints unless those concerns are given enough of a boost that these companies can actually hear them somehow. The truth is that when someone sees a very low Metacritic user score, it will do exactly what it is intended to do. It will make them delve deeper to see what exactly is wrong with that product, and that kind of means that review bombing is working as intended. They also bring up Helldivers 2 in the article as a victim of review bombing, but again, the public outcry against Helldivers 2 was completely justified in every way. They lied to consumers, they forced PSN logins, then backpedaled, but not really, and then their community manager started mass banning people for questioning the moderator's opinions or status quo. The only way to make companies listen is through voting with your wallets and then hitting them where it hurts, which is scores and such. Otherwise, you'll just change nothing and the same slop as always will continue to come out, which will not help anyone at all. They end the Gamer article by attacking the audience by saying, "If you're so angry about Yasuke's inclusion in Shadows, or Gladiator 2's use of a hip-hop song, or Star Wars Outlaws making its lead female character uglier, that you feel the need to post constantly about it online, downvote trailers, and or squad up with other haters and review bomb the game once it comes out, you're a weird little person who needs to be weaned off the internet circles you've invested in like a baby being taught to stop sucking its thumb. Step away from your computer, set down your phone, and have a normal day." I bet the gamer journalist here, whose name is Andrew King, he probably felt big and strong writing that, like he just wrote the most profound article to ever exist. But he just admits his bias and proves yet again for the 100th time that these journalists, they just hate their audiences and don't know what they want. If you accept this slop, you're a good little supporter and you're welcome, but if you challenge anything or question things, now you're suddenly small, sad, and need to touch grass. None of this is right, but it doesn't surprise me that, like always, the woke freaks out there act like the Sith themselves. And they always just deal in absolutes. There's no gray area to be found with them. It's just like that racist Afro article. You either have mixed children or you have white children. And in their eyes, one is okay and the other is very bad. Like, these people truly do believe these things. But what's very clear to me anyways is that the more we push back against these things, the more these people will recoil in pain and disgust, which is totally fine by me. If the United States is investing around $8 trillion right now into wokeness, I say, let's get it down to 4 trillion next year, and then 2 trillion, and then nothing. And then when the ESG runs out, that's the root problem of all of this. Because without those ESG fundings, places like afro.com and the many woke websites like your Kotakus and more, they will cease to exist without that influx of cash. So like always, the real reason why they call you bigots and awful human beings is because without that safety net, their crazy racist woke agendas cannot continue to exist for the rest of time. That's why they're pushing harder than ever before to scare investors and detractors into supporting them. But all you need to do, dear viewer, is actually absolutely nothing at all. Just don't consume it, don't buy their merch or subscribe to anything they say. Just laugh and enjoy your lives, because these freaks and their ideologies are dying one insane article at a time. As always, thank you for watching, subscribe, share, like the video, and thanks to my patrons and members for their support. You can subscribe to be a member for $3 if you want. Thank you, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.